The federal member for Corangamite, Libby Coker, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Mitchell, and congratulations. That is an amazing success story that community radio, The Pulse, is going strong after so many years. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. And you were almost there on day one. I was interviewing you when you were running for Polwarth back in 2014, and you've come a very long way since those days.
That is amazing, isn't it, Mitchell? It's a long time to be, in the pursuit of politics, but it's I think what it means is that you do get a grasp of the region and what is going on. It's a privilege to be in the role.
It certainly is. Now, COVID-19, what's the latest situation down in your area on the Surf Coast? Because I saw that you did put out a message calling on people that had come down from Melbourne to go home or not to come down in the first place. Do you think people are largely heeding that message?
Well, I think it's really important that people stay in their principal place of residence if we are going to get through this second wave of COVID and not see none of us want this. And for me, I have a mother who is particularly vulnerable. She has a lung issue, and so she lives in areas in it. And it is, she's been self-isolating, doing the right thing. And when you see that people are coming down, when Daniel Andrews has said, please stay in your principal place of residence, and we've had a real influx of people to the region on that day, when it was announced on the Wednesday, I was really disappointed, and for the community, or communities, really coastal communities across Corangamite, I received so many emails, phone calls, Facebook messages from people who were just really anxious, fearful, some of them angry, and we don't want this. So I'm really pleased to say that there is a real slowing down of people to the coast now, obviously, and many people have returned. It's much quieter, and I think that it is. I'd just like to say thank you to people who have heeded the message and are now in their principal place of residence. We need to pull together. It is not a time for division, and that is not what my message was about. It's about, hey, if we're going to get through this, we don't want more deaths. We want to actually get rid of this virus from our community, from our states and our country. We have to all pull together. So it's tough. I don't know how tough it is, but I'd just like to thank everybody for doing the right thing.
How do you think we're tracking in this area in terms of the likelihood of going into a statewide lockdown? Do you think that the government's implemented this, as the state government has implemented these restrictions in Melbourne just quickly enough that they may take hold, reduce the number of cases, and we may be spared from also going into further lockdowns?
Well, it's going to be dependent on how all of us respond to the guidelines that are now set out. So it's really up to us. If we want to be spared, we have to all be very careful, do the right thing, socially distance, isolate if you're not feeling well, to have a test if you think you may possibly have the virus, to follow the instructions in relation to schools. I know schools in Geelong and the region, I think many of them are testing, giving temperature tests for students, and it's only the senior secondaries who are back in school, and, we ask all our young people to also socially distance as well. So it's really up to us. And I hope that we can all respond to the challenge so that we can get through this sooner rather than later.
In terms of the JobKeeper and JobSeeker payments, this latest spike has, I think, shown just how vulnerable we can be in terms of the economy and what things are going to look like over the next few months. The government has responded to your claim saying that we need to keep JobKeeper and JobSeeker going by saying there will be an announcement about this on July the 23rd. Do you think that will secure the future of those payments?
Look, JobSeeker is essential that we keep it in some form, and I'm pleased that the federal government has listened not just to my call, but the call of many people who are dependent on this subsidy to support their business and to support jobs. So I'm pleased to hear that there is going to be an extension. We don't know what form it will take. I have been calling for JobKeeper to be extended to tourism and hospitality areas because I know how hard hit businesses have been right along the coast and in the hinterland. So we've got a mini budget coming up next week, so looking forward to hopefully hearing a very constructive approach to keeping the doors of businesses open and more people in work. So I think we've got to watch this space on this one. JobSeeker is another issue we need to tackle. I have been calling for an extension to JobSeeker before JobSeeker we had people on unemployment benefit $40 a day. It is impossible to live on $40 a day, and we must raise that figure. What it will be, the government has flagged that it could possibly be $75 a week. We'll wait and see, but it definitely needs to be extended. And one thing we do know is that people on an unemployment benefit, they will spend that money in the economy. They will not be putting it in their super or in the bank. They will be spending it, stimulating our economy and creating work and jobs. So I think it's an absolute no-brainer to extend it.
What sort of feedback do you get from businesses in the electorate, particularly the smaller businesses? Are they starting to return to normal because they can have up to 20 people in their establishments, unlike the businesses in Melbourne? Are they starting to get back on their feet?
I think it is still a struggle for businesses right through our region. We've got less people coming down to the region because of the lockdown. We have international visitors have stopped, which particularly on the Ocean Road is a huge source of income for people. So that's not occurring. The number of buses coming down the coast is much less, although even though there's an argument about how much they actually give back. But so they are struggling. They're still struggling. They're doing their best to be open to provide hospitality to people, accommodation to people, but we, again, it's all in light of the COVID virus, socially distancing, getting people to, wash their hands, real basics. And I know that businesses are really onto it. I'm really impressed by the way they have adjusted, but they're still doing it tough. So anything that the federal government can do in terms of package for our tourism, hospitality sector, and JobKeeper, JobSeeker will be of great value.
Now, in terms of the free childcare issue, Senator Sarah Henderson has tweeted about this. She says, another Libby Coker misrepresentation. She fails to mention the Scott Morrison government's $708 million package to help childcare centres pay early educators' wages. Does that go far enough, do you think?
Look, I think the free childcare was actually, there was still a gap, and the providers had to fill that gap. And there were some providers, and I know this because people have contacted the office, whether they're providers or childcare workers, councils that have struggled. It's been really tough, and it is now, we now have no longer got the free childcare. We're now going back to the previous system. Fees can be very exorbitant, and at a time when families are doing it tough, they're going to resume paying childcare fees with no extra support from the government, with this reverting back to the old system. So it's tough. And so I've been listening to women who've rung me and said, look, I'm thinking of having to dip into my super because I just can't afford to get by. So, any extra impost with childcare fees is going to make it harder for women to get back into the workforce. If it means reduced numbers in childcare centres, it obviously will have impact on people being able to work. So at a time of recession, the last thing we need is working parents being unable to take up work because they can't find childcare. So, look, it's an area I would like to see a review, and I'd like to ask the government we need to do things differently in the area of childcare.
What do you think we could do to help working parents more? Because I was talking to someone just before who is paying a lot in childcare fees, $750, that bonus payment they've missed out on because they don't qualify for it. So it does seem like there are some people that have sort of just missed out on some of these government payments and benefits and are doing it quite tough. And as you say, we do need to increase participation in the workforce during this time.
Well, it's a good question. Look, I think we need to look at people's ability to pay and to rejig the system so that we do have more opportunity for more people to afford childcare and to go back to work. So it's looking at, I suppose, the rebates, in relation to people's wages, so what people can afford. I think that there's an imbalance there because many people say they just can't afford it. But for, say, the primary breadwinner goes out to work, often the person who stays home is the woman, and they weigh up the cost of childcare versus the amount of money that the woman is getting when she returns to work, and it is not a viable option. And I think we are losing the talent of our female workforce and not giving them the opportunity that they deserve. So, yes, we need change, and I think that's an area I certainly feel passionate about and we'll be saying more on.
Now, there's a column in the Age newspaper last week, which I'm sure you would have seen, that says that you and Jed Kearney have left the industrial left faction of the Labor Party, and now John Setka apparently is asking for a repayment of the campaign funds, and apparently a lot of volunteers helped out on your campaign. That's since been followed up by Senator Henderson. Is that true, that allegation?
The first thing that needs to be said is that unions will always support Labor, and I support unions because we support workers, and everyone is a worker, and everyone deserves a decent rate of pay and decent conditions at work. So I'm proud of that, and I do not shy away from that fact because if we have a strong workforce who are well paid, well rewarded, who are doing rewarding work, we all do better. In relation to this issue, honestly, at a time when people are ringing me saying they're about to dip into their super, that they cannot put food on the table, and I've connected them in with Feed Me Bellarine or Feed Me Surf Coast, who are providing meals. We've helped to support these groups so people can get food on the table. That my predecessor is talking about these sort of issues. I think it's quite disappointing. The fact is people who have elected me want to be there for them and support them at this time, and that's my total focus.
And the ABC protest. Now, Senator Henderson on the program yesterday said that the ABC funding hasn't gone down in real terms. So how much money has been cut, are you saying, from the ABC?
Well, firstly, what I would like to ask is, well, how come there's 250 jobs gone if the funding hasn't been cut? I mean, I'm sure that the ABC does not cut jobs easily, and this is 250 jobs at a time of recession. It's just devastating. There are further cuts, the cuts of $84 million, and we have said, Labor has said, that we will reverse those cuts if we were to win at the next election. At a time of fake news, we have a shrinking media market, which I'm sure you, Mitchell, would be well aware of. We need our national broadcaster more than ever. We need an ABC that's robust, that's fearless, and will provide us with news that we can trust and give us an opportunity to speak about the issues that matter to us. So I'm absolutely 100% passionate about our ABC, and I congratulate the protesters that had a silent vigil, that were aware of social distancing, but really felt a desire to stand up and speak out about these cuts. So well done to the Friends of the ABC, I say.
Well, Libby, thanks for being on the program, and we'll catch up with you again next month.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, and have a great day. Congratulations once again about this being your anniversary. How many years is it?
6 years.
6 years. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Libby Coker there, the federal member for Corangamite, joining us on the program this morning.